So you can't just choose as a politician or as a group when you're going to go and talk to people when it's convenient for you.
Mobilizing. 2 months before the May primary, more than 2 years until the next general election. On this episode, how one progressive organization is seeking to engage and how one conservative plans to upend a city's new normal. From WUNC, this is the Politics Podcast. I'm Jeff Tiberi.
Mr. Willie. This house is an 81-year-old man named Mr. Willie.
For a shoe leather stomping, door knocking grassroots organizer, the time of year doesn't entirely matter. So on a windy, overcast, unseasonably warm winter afternoon in East Durham, Aimy Steele is doing her thing. Caromming from door to door in a gentrifying part of North Carolina's third largest city. In her hand, a stack of door hangers, each covered in voting resources. At each address, Steele checks her phone to see who's registered to vote, then respectfully walks up, knocks on the door, and waits. If she's lucky, someone will open. That's her cue.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you, Nicholas?
I am.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm Aimy Steele with the New North Carolina Project. How are you?
Good.
So we're out with the New North Carolina Project just sharing some information about your local community and kind of what's going on in Durham and to make sure you are...
Steele is the founder and director of the New North Carolina Project. She started the nonprofit in 2021 with a goal in mind, a goal that she wears proudly on these door-knocking afternoons.
My t-shirt says invest in communities of color. It says invest, and really it's not about giving. You know, communities of color who are disproportionately impacted by all things negative don't want a handout, but a hand up would be nice. I've said that before. We don't want, welfare. We want well-being and wellness. So when you invest in a community of color, you help to build bridges that are not easily destroyed. That's what you help to do.
Steele took me and producer Charlie Shelton-Ormond along as she walked through a portion of the East Durham neighborhood, waving to folks passing by, handing out her materials, laying, she hopes, a foundation.
How many houses are you hoping to knock on today?
Well, I have 137.
Oh my goodness.
So probably, as many as we can get before 3:45.
Yeah.
And then we'll just keep picking back up. Whatever we don't get, we'll get later.
The New North Carolina Project is spread out across the state. It's a 501c3/c4. Steele is based in Concord, but makes trips like this to Durham often.
We're only looking for people of color. So they can come from 4 populations that are traditionally marginalized, especially in the political process. So they are Black, Latinx, Native American, and Asian American Pacific Islander. Now, of course, if we happen to run across a white person, we are more than happy to talk with them and engage them. We're not discriminatory in any way, but our target focus is on people of color.
Are the majority of the people whose doors you are knocking on, were they Democrats? Are they Democrats? Do you know? Is that even part of the...
No, we don't care, but we do know that the majority of people of color tend to lean progressive, yes. That is a proven and known fact. All right, so there is another person.
And keep us honest. We don't want to slow you down, because we can ask our questions running or crawling or in a studio or on the street.
Yeah,
So
you're good. This is how I do. I just want to make sure I've got access to everything I need. Okay. It says do not disturb, so we don't disturb. Try to respect people's privacy and their wishes and their desires.
Steele's desires include improving community engagement with progressives, registering many more people of color for this year's midterm elections, and building a relationship one doorstep at a time.
We have robust goals. I get made fun of all the time for my goals, but I shall not change them. We want to knock 250,000 doors over the next couple years, at least. We also want to send 1 million text messages this year and 1 million phone calls this year.
just for context, how many, because we've knocked on, 25, 30 doors today. How many doors have you knocked on? Has the New North Carolina Project knocked on in 2022?
Just under 3,000. Just under 3,000. So we've got a long way to go, buddy. Long, long way.
It's an uphill climb, and this is perhaps a fitting time to remind you of the prospects for progressives in 2022. Democrats are not expected to have a good year, particularly at the national level. In fact, it could get ugly. Consider that since the end of World War II, there have been 19 midterm elections, and in 17 of them, the party of the sitting president has lost seats in the U.S. House. This backdrop of history comes as President Biden trudges through his lowest approval numbers to date. For a little deeper context, the last time a Democratic president saw his party pick up seats in the U.S. House during the midterm was 1998. And the last time a Senate gain happened for a Democrat, the White House was occupied by JFK.
During COVID. Okay, so that would be 2020. Okay, good. So what we need to do, have you moved here recently or you been here a while?
I've been here for several months now.
Got it. We're talking to people continuously so that when it's time to ask them for something, it's not the first time they've heard from us. And it's being genuine about helping people where they are. That's the piece that is always missing from elections and from engaging in the political process, engaging people of color in the political process. It's not something, you can't engage people without engaging them. Talking to them on the phone 3 months before an election and saying, I need you to vote, is not engagement. We have ladders of engagement. That is the lowest level of engagement possible. And a confused mind always says no. So if you don't have enough time to ramp up the information and build up the information and the trust and the rapport and the credibility, they're going to be like, no, thank you. I appreciate you coming, but no. Because that process doesn't do anything for me, and they're not wrong. I know what it's like to be a person of color, and the political system or any systemic structure just doesn't work for me. Not because I'm trying to make it not work. I'm trying to make it work, only to be met with all sorts of resistance that just don't make sense to me. If you watch and just see and follow how we are treated when we go into certain spaces, we're not given the same opportunity. We're treated as if we brought a problem into the situation just because we stepped in the room, not because we are a problem. We could be sitting back calm and nice and collected and not say a word.
And just to be clear, we're not talking just about politics here.
No, we're talking about life. We're talking about everyday life.
You mentioned before access, and my word is the disproportionate, the disparate levels of access to politicians, to elected officials, as we think about socioeconomic class and education attainment, all sorts of things. What's ultimately going to change that is, I hear you, I was just with you, this is one thing, but what is it going to take for that dynamic to shift and for more elected officials to be doing what you're doing? Because the way districts are drawn, they don't really need to do this all that much.
They don't. They do need to do it. They don't have to do it. And so what I think is going to change it is just amplifying these stories. Where are you, elected officials? Why are you not here? And if you are here, why are you not telling the story of some of the people whom we just spoke with and the people who are saying, there are things that we're concerned about. Now, today was an overview. It's the first date. It's the first time we're coming to some of these doors this year. But that won't always be the case. Pretty soon we'll have more stories. And we already have stories, but pretty soon we'll have more stories that are more detailed. Elected officials need to know what's going on in their communities. And the only way for them to do that is to actually show up in the communities and really talk to people.
After 2 unsuccessful bids for the state legislature, Steele is still taking it one prospective voter at a time, waving, walking, and talking. Her focus and optimism do not seem to waver, even if progressive causes might feel like a bit of a long shot in 2022. Meanwhile, in Charlotte, there's another underdog effort underway, where odds of success are particularly long.
I am going for one thing and one thing only, which is a moonshot.
Tarek Scott Bakari is a city council member in Charlotte.
A Republican here in urban America, a bit of a dodo bird, and in my the last stand for us, and I'm also the orchestrator of the slate of Republicans running for city council and mayor.
Bakari was first elected to city council in 2017. Currently, he's serving his second term and is one of just 2 Republicans currently on the 11-member city council.
Well, I mean, it's a bloodbath for Republicans and a shoe-in for Democrats for over a decade now.
Bakari's goal is to bring more Republicans onto the Charlotte City Council. More specifically, he wants to help Republicans take back a majority of the council, as well as the mayorship. It's a goal so lofty that he said it had maybe a 1% chance when he set out to do it.
And 2009 was the last time I think an at-large person was even elected. And a Republican hasn't been able to be elected in any at-large election since then. And now we're at a point where the county commission is all Democrat. The city council is 9 Democrat, 2 Republican. I'm one of 2 that's left here in districts and a Democrat mayor. So the current state is, the state of the county is not strong for Republicans.
Of America's 50 largest cities, less than 10 have a Republican mayor. You've seen the maps. Cities are blue, really blue. And GOP representation is becoming more rare in these urban areas. Still, there's some not-so-distant GOP history in CLT. Former Governor Pat McCrory had previously served as mayor of the city for 7 terms and was, for a long time, believe it or not, viewed as a right-of-center, pro-business, compromise-seeking, reasonable conservative. Now, is the city nearly as liberal as Durham or Raleigh? Or does its financial industry roots give Bakari a puncher's chance? Here's another question, maybe the real question. Why is he doing this?
Yeah, I mean, it's evolved, and you'll find very quickly that I am almost too brutally honest about why I do things, and that's what makes me a bad politician, but I'll do it nonetheless. When I ran in 2017, I was ready to come back. I was ready to make a difference. Boom, good, 2 years, learned. Second term, did it again because I had unfinished business, still excited, and it was a disaster the next 2 years. It was COVID, pandemic, BLM marches and riots. It was, throwing the cops and under the bus and disarm the police. And then it moved into all this drama and things like that. So it's, if I'm going to be honest, I didn't even really want to run again this term. But I knew when I sat around about 8 months ago and started really thinking about it, I didn't know who I was going to pass the torch to. And maybe there were 1 or 2 people I could pass the torch to. There wasn't a bench of Republicans left. And even if we completely fail and it's still 9-2 or 10-1, guess what? We built a bench of new Republicans. And aside from me and the other incumbent running, every single one of these folks has never run for office before. That is a bench, and that's a new future for Republicans in a top 20 size city.
So let's say you do complete the moonshot. And not even a year from now, 4 months from now, there's a Republican majority on Charlotte City Council. There's a Republican mayor in Charlotte. Tell me why you think in a city where the number of registered voters who are Democrats far outweigh Republicans, or I believe even unaffiliateds in Charlotte and in Mecklenburg County. Tell me why you think a Republican takeover would actually be good for the city writ large.
If we win, I will tell you, here's the difference. It won't just be a different group coming in. It won't just be a group of Republicans that now are first timers in with fresh eyes. We are practicing as we speak every single day for how we're going to govern when we're in there. I'll give you one example. Last week, we all jumped in and we're acting like a startup now. There are roles internally. We're dividing and conquering. We're coming back together in shared missions as a slate. We've chosen public safety as what we're going to run on. So this week, on every Friday, we have a stand-up that says, all right, what are we going to do? What is our one theme next week that's going to keep our buzz and momentum going and show teamwork and our commitment to public safety? So we are in week 1 of this campaign right now. And this is how we're operating. Imagine, just like a startup, how good we're going to be by July. And if the voters will allow this new attempt, just imagine what this government's going to be like. It's going to be totally different.
In 2 North Carolina cities, 2 political organizers of distinctly different ideologies take 2 different approaches, pounding the pavement, transform from within. Both could work, or neither. And while Bakari and Steele are following 2 different paths, there is at least one common goal: changing the status quo.
If the public, if a person has an opportunity to vote for someone to be in office, that person running should talk to the people.
Back in Durham, Aimy Steele is wrapping up her day, at least part of it. After the microphones fall away from her face, she climbs into the SUV, heads back down I-85, and on to another virtual meeting. Along the way, her phone is sure to be buzzing, and her mind ruminating.
And I guess what bothers me about the model that I see is that the people who seem to have the most influence are the ones who are wealthier, have more money, and make the most noise to the elected official or the candidate running for office. It's not the people who actually are disproportionately impacted by the person. And I think what happens is people don't like conflict. They don't like conflict so much that they avoid it at all costs. If a district attorney were to face the people in the community, it might be a little bit contentious in the room, right? It'll be messy. So, there are avenues, ways to have, dialogue that don't involve all the messiness. So, just making opportunities to talk to the people who are going to vote for you is so important. I mean, it's really a standard that needs to be set from all candidates across North Carolina.
Candidate filing is now closed. The May 2022 primary is in focus, and 2024, deep breath, is on the horizon. Organizers ultimately want to shift the political landscape, planting new soil by engaging constituents and identifying new leaders. Tariq Bukhari will continue to pursue conservatism in Charlotte, while Aimy Steele has a few thousand more doors to knock on.
People are registered to vote and that they have access to all the resources they need.
Fantastic.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day. I'll visit with your neighbor now.
This episode of the Politics Podcast was produced by Charlie Shelton Ormond. If you enjoy this program, learn something from it, find yourself coming back for more, consider leaving us a review wherever you downloaded it, or pass it along, an episode that you liked, to a friend, a colleague, a neighbor. As always, thank you for listening. I'm Jeff Tiberi.